Hey, what's up guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Cincinnati Reds Draft to Glory franchise mode series. In the last episode, we went through our third entry draft. Hard to believe we've gone through that many drafts already, but the team is continuing to take shape. Because of that, Bobby Bloom, of course, the #1 overall pick. Very excited to see what he can do heading into next season. We also ended up getting Henry Shipman. The rest will be decent depth for the moment, but no long-term players aside from that. Of course, we are just about to the All-Star game with the current squad, still keeping an eye on guys like Fado, Gonzalez, Wallace, and Samwell for starting pitchers. Of course, we picked up Durbin Feltman in the Rule 5 draft, and in terms of our regular players, I mean, aside from the fact that Michael Chavis won the Rookie of the Year, easy for me to say, I completely blanked on that, but we're fine. You know what it was? I looked at Yurchak, and that just blew my mind. I was trying to decide, like, how the hell, like, just what even is that name? Completely caught me off guard. We haven't signed, though. But with Michael Chavis winning Rookie of the Year, you'd think eyes would be on him, but for me, it's mainly seeing what becomes of Brian Lopez and Steven Ryder. That said, unless, yet again, there are a drastic amount of injuries, we will try to sim through the rest of the regular season, and already I can tell it's going to be a massive problem. At the very least, let's get to the All-Star break. We'll see who our more than likely only one elected player is. Of course, we get one player by default. Last season, it was Albert Pujols. We'll see who makes, oh my god, this is ridiculous. Jesus, we'll see who ends up making it to the All-Star game for us. Of course, we only have 13 wins on the season, so there's going to be a shitload of L's. I think we won 3 or 4 games throughout the entire month of June. As it is, it's going to take another 6.5 hours just to sim a week to the All-Star game. So we'll definitely keep this limited. I feel like the more I try to sim, like the further I try to go, the game just like freaks out. And it's like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Let's see, Home Run Derby, we don't have a participant, so we don't really have to care. But let's take a look at who our All-Star is this season, shall we? Any guesses? I couldn't possibly imagine, as it is Will Vincent. Will Vincent makes the All-Star game for us. 20 years old, already a 76 overall. Ain't under a 2.0 ERA, a fantastic whip. Not bad. You know, he's earned it. He's earned it. He's actually been pretty damn good. I doubt there's anybody else here. There's an outside chance. You never quite know. Yeah, no. We're still gonna be stuck at just one All-Star or representative a season for a decent amount of time. But there you go. Will Vincent's the man. What we're gonna do is sim to the end of the season. We'll take a look at all the stats and everything, and then you know the deal. Off-season, Rule 5, and we'll end this episode with the Year 4 entry draft. Our third season has come to a close. The Pittsburgh Pirates are your World Series champions. I believe making it back after losing, I believe, to Toronto last year. Let me say the word I believe one more time. But they beat the White Sox in 6 games, as we always do. Let's take a look at the awards and everything around the league. We finished with a 30-132 record, setting records for just how terrible we are. Award-wise, World Series MVP went to Chris Taylor. Postseason MVP was Chris Taylor for back-to-back years out of the NL, so indeed they made it back. They indeed lost to Toronto last year. Michael Conforto won it for the White Sox in the AL. MVP, Giancarlo Stanton in Cleveland. Justin Smoke in the NL. Verlander takes home a Cy Young, as does Luis Severino. Batting title to Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve. Reliever of the Year, Will Harris with Kenley Jansen. Rookie of the Year, Yanni Chirinos and Ronald Guzman. So there you go. No Rookie of the Year award for us this time out. Hank Aaron award to Chris Bryant and Brandon Nimmo in Toronto. I still got to remember, like, oh yeah, shit. If someone in Toronto wins an award, I can't speak right now. If someone in Toronto wins an award, it's not a good thing for us anymore. Unfortunately, I can't help but look to see if somehow any records have been broken just yet. We're only 3 seasons in. The answer is probably no, and indeed the answer is no, but it's worth looking from time to time. So let's take a look at how our players did this season. We start off starting pitching-wise. Sam Wallace is a 73 overall. How'd he do this year? Whew. Yeah, that speaks for itself. Sam, don't worry. We won't talk about it anymore. We don't need to rub salt in the wounds. Alex Fado is a 71. So a little bit disappointing. He's actually a 76, playing like a 71, though. So that's a good sign. There has been some development there. His numbers this year took a bit of a step back compared to what he did last year. That's, I guess, to be expected with how bad the team was. Gustavo Gonzalez is a 71 overall. Some development here and there for the A potential guy, but at 23, it's starting to be a bit of a problem. He actually still did quite poorly. I mean, last year he wasn't that bad. Similar situation as I smashed the controller on the desk. And Roger Samwell's our only other starting pitcher, up to a 67 overall. And yeah, he was quite bad as well. Durbin Feltman, decent progression for him, still with that 99 velocity. He had a pretty rough season. Under a 1.5 whip, which isn't that great, but for being on this team, it's actually not that bad. And then we have our horsemen here, our 4 horsemen of closers. Will Vincent, who of course made the All-Star game, he's a 76, playing like a 78. Decent progression for him. Excited to see what he can do in the seasons to come. Guillermo Ramos as well. Some good development there. A 70, playing like a 72. It wasn't that great, but I suppose it could have been worse, all things considered. Bruce Boyle, up to a, well, he's actually a 74, playing like a 71. Just poor morale right now. Really struggled at the major league level. Decent progression, though. And Richie Sorvala, another C potential closer. Not too bad. 69, which is very nice. Playing like a 67. So there you go for anybody pitching related. Of course, we don't have a catcher at the moment, but we do have Will Glover at first, who made progression across the board. He is 20 years old and C potential, but 60 overall at this point. 4 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a 276 average. Not all that bad. At third, we have Michael Chavis, who is a 74 overall, still making some forward progress. 11 home runs, 54 RBIs with a 231 average this season. We also have Lee Wilkins, who, made some progress, some good with that. He's a 61, though, which is pretty upsetting. 1 home run, 12 RBIs, and a 253 average on the season. At short, we have no additions. Of course, we just drafted Goldstein and Brian Quo, I believe it would be. In left, Brian Lopez. Progression across the board outside of speed, stealing, and aggressiveness. He is a 75 overall. Not bad. 18 home runs, 63 RBIs, 23 stolen bases with a 249 average. And Josh Stowers as well, our other Rule 5 pickup. Progression pretty much across the board. A true 75 overall with 10 home runs, 34 RBIs, and a 265 average. Ray Rosario, again, progression nearly across the board. -3 contact against lefties, though, and lost a little bit of speed. A 71 playing like a 73. Again, I can't believe he can play the outfield and catcher. No home runs, 14 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, and a 182 average. He's certainly capable of more than that. Steven Ryder, our first ever pick, is up to a 74 overall, really a 72. 14 home runs, 62 RBI, 235 average, and that is that. A full look at the players who matter, at the very least, the awards as well. And we'll take a quick look here at Pittsburgh, just so you can see the top players on the team, including Bryce Harper, Xander Bogaerts, and Mike Clevenger. So there you go, the main faces that led Pittsburgh to a World Series. And with that, we are good to go. So let's advance day. And I think we'll do what we typically do, is, again, we lose a lot of players to retirement, which isn't that big of a surprise. I'm just double-checking the list to make sure there's no one here that we drafted that may have retired early. That is indeed the case. Robinson Cano retires and makes it to the Hall of Fame. In terms of coaching staff, again, we're fine. We don't have any exclusive free agents to worry about. Let's not stop simming. I am going to have to sort out this roster, though, so give me a few moments. Give me a few moments. Moments are when, you know what? No, I don't know what I want your best description for what a moment is down below. I expect plenty of cow puns. Allow me to sort out the roster before we go to the Rule 5. All right, everyone who we needed to clear off the roster is off, so let's go ahead and handle our re-signings. Let's start off with the catcher, and in fairness, we're not going to have everyone or anyone to worry about there. Henry Shipman's the only guy. At first, Will Glover is the first man that we need to pay attention to. At first, he's the first. Sure, let's go with that. I think we've already established that for whatever reason, I cannot speak today. We're also going to have to worry about Lee Wilkins. We'll get him signed up for 2 years. Let's go $600K there. Michael Chavis was still signed from last year. Shortstop, of course, we just brought in Goldstein and Kuo, but we don't have to worry about either of those two. In left, Josh Stowers is going to need a new contract. It's going to be somewhat hefty. Not bad. Is Lopez or Rosario there? Brian Lopez is indeed there. And we'll be signing him up for 2 years at 1.3, a real big boy contract for him. So Stowers, Lopez, and then no Rosario to have to re-sign. He must still be under a deal. There is a Jason Rosario. Of course, we're looking for Ray Rosario. This guy's actually not that bad. How he ended up on the free agent list, it just happens from time to time, so we may have developed him a little bit for a different team. And then right, we have Ryder, James, and Montag. Neither of them are there, or any of them are there, so we don't have to worry about it. Starting pitching-wise, Sam Wallace is going to need a deal. We'll go 2 years at 1.2. That's fine. Roger Samwell as well. We'll give him $650 for the hell of it, and I think that's it. Fido and Gonzalez would be the last two, and they're both going to be too high of an overall. Durbin Felton needs a contract. We'll give him $700K a season. And Chris Curtis, we just drafted. He's the only other true reliever we have. And for closers, Richie Sorvala will be the last guy that we need to send a contract to. So as long as those guys all accept, we'll be good to go. Keone Keela, would it be, has signed with the Giants. Mookie Betts to the Florida Marlins. Or the Miami Marlins, I'm sorry. There it is. There it is. I called them the Florida Marlins. Durbin Feltman is the only guy who has yet to sign. Literally the only player right now that we're waiting for. Everybody else has signed. Trevor Bauer to the Twins. David Robertson to the Yankees. And we're good. Everyone has signed. Let's go ahead and move forward. Pedro Strop, I believe it is, to the Yankees as well. So they're stocking up. DeGrom to the Cubs. And Yoenis Cespedes, for that matter. James Paxton to the Rays. Springer to the Rockies. Danny Salazar to Texas. We are good to go. Keep on simming. Keep on simming. Again, there's no G's here in any of the New England states. There's no G's. It's simming. Much like there aren't any R's. There just isn't. It's not a car. It's a car. Get it right. Robbie Ray to the Orioles. Kyle Hendricks to the Angels. Corey Kluber to the White Sox. I would not like to stop simulating. Thank you very much. To the winter meetings we go. And to the Rule 5 we go. Let's do this. Our first draft of the episode, of course, we get the number 1 pick because we're absolutely terrible. We get 1 pitcher, 1 position player. Let's see who is available. And good old George Lopez here isn't that bad. But at 28, that ceiling is kind of rough. Whereas, how good is Logan Allen going to be? Is he going to be able to make up 3 overall points in 5 years? The answer is probably yes. So Logan Allen right now is by far the favorite. 23B and a 74. You have 23B and a 73, and I think he's the favorite. Even Anderson Espinoza, we have a higher overall guy up ahead, so we have our favorites, but we're guaranteed if we want a starting pitcher to get a 23B, or not a 23B, but, around that age. And then again, that's pretty much the youngest you can go. So we have Logan Allen. In terms of bullpen, it's not looking as good. Again, 23B and a 74. There isn't anybody in that range. So if we're taking a pitcher, I think, it's going to be Allen. So I think we're going to take a starting pitcher this year. It is going to be Logan Allen or Alexei Uribe, but more than likely Allen with him being a year younger. In terms of the position player, you have Sean Murphy, 26B and a 73. It's not terrible. You got a 24B and a 70. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, though. At first, Pavin Smith is still there. We didn't take him last year. 25A and a 69. Could be worth taking just to see if he'll develop, but of course we do have Bobby Bloom now. But just for the sake of seeing if he's a late bloomer, Pavin Smith could be the guy to take. Could potentially play him in a different spot. He and Bloom both have left field as an alternative option. right now, I mean, Murphy, 26B and a 73, I'm not too sold on. I'd say Pavin Smith is the favorite at the moment. Of course, we really haven't looked too much in too many spots. Keston Hiura could be the better option, though. 24B and a 75. We need a starting second baseman. He's the favorite right now. It's between him and Pavin Smith. But 24B and a 75 is going to be tough to beat. And I don't see anybody there who can match that. There is an A way down there in Ryder Jones. Shortstop, 23B and a 70. That certainly doesn't match it. Again, 24B and a 75. I think Hiura is our favorite right now. Nick Martini, great name, but not going to happen. Jesus Sanchez. Adam Brett Walker. You got to love people with 3 names. 23B. Travis Swaggerty. Oh, it's such a good name. That's such a good name, but we have better options. And even like Blake Rutherford, 23B and a 73. So I think it comes down to 2 players. It comes down to Pavin Smith or Keston Hiura. And we're going to go for Hiura. I mean, he's 24 years old. There's no reason to not take him. So there we go. We have ourselves a starting second baseman. Lopez, the starting pitcher, was selected. He was the only other player selected, so we're going to be able to pick up Logan Allen as well. So there you go. That worked out quite well for us. I'll add them to my short list of players that we're actually allowed to keep. Basically, I'm keeping a depth chart on a Word document of everyone who's actually ours. But there we go. The Rule 5, that might have been the best 1-2 punch. We've had some good pickups so far. I mean, Michael Chavis winning Rookie of the Year is great, but I think that the signings that we just made, as Robertson's already been dealt. Jesus. Wait, nope, that's the other one. Second baseman. I'm like, wait a minute, they already dealt the pitcher? They did not. They did not. Regardless, I'm excited for where this team is right now. We're able to go to spring training. Of course, I'm going to have to fill out this roster with a whole bunch of nobodies, but we will do just that. And again, this season, certainly about the continued development of some of these starters. I mean, Alex Fidel was a Rule 5 pickup. Look at where he is right now. You can kind of see this coming along. Between Fidel, Wallace, Allen, and Gonzalez, we could have a decent, I mean, you look at the attributes for Gonzalez, we could have a decent starting rotation soon, though. I mean, Sam Wallace not quite in that same level. Durbin Feltman's a 79 right now. Will Vincent's looking like he could be the real deal. This will be Henry Shipman's first year. Very excited for Bobby Bloom. Hiura now at second. I'm excited to see what happens this season. So let me go ahead and fill out this roster. Not to mention Brian Lopez could be even better than one Steven Ryder. He is right now. Let me fill out this roster, and we will begin the ridiculous stretch as Eric Leach has retired. So we have one scout from each, and actually here, we'll do this now since we're already here. So Alberto Matthews is pretty well-rounded, and for that reason, he will stay. Just that lower efficiency rating, 10 lower efficiency. The discovery is worse, but he's better with pitchers. Yeah, I think we'll keep Matthews for an international scout. It's fairly straightforward. For the East, Guardado. Better efficiency here, slightly worse discovery. Guardado can stay. He wins out on that front. Lombardo is going to be out here. Let's see who has it better. I'm going to go for the better discovery. Efficiency is a bit lower, but I think Chris McCauley will be signed to replace Lombardo. It's kind of close, but yeah, I think Chris McCauley will be brought in. And then in terms of a central scout, just the higher efficiency of Yamazaki makes him a little bit more desirable to use in that spot. Regardless, we don't have a great choice for central scouts, but I think Randall Yamazaki is going to be brought in. Discovery's better, pitcher's better. Really, the only thing that's worse is position players. So we have a couple of new scouts. Of course, we will make the most of that. But for now, give me a moment so that we can actually field a team. And here we go. The last dash, the final sprint of this episode. The roster's good to go. Let's sim to the regular season. The AI will remain in control of what happens in terms of who's playing at what level, but this is the starting team with our rotation being made up of the 5 starters that we have. As you get a look at the bullpen, as well, including rookie Chris Curtis there, set up as the long reliever. Lineup-wise, Damian Montag's going to be in center, Cal Goldstein, Bobby Bloom, Brian Lopez, Michael Chavis, Steven Ryder, Josh Stowers, not Jowers, Josh Jowers. Why does that sound familiar? I don't know. Keaston Hiura and Henry Shipman. So the lineup and the rotation made up entirely of players that we have drafted already, which isn't surprising. Of course, I went through and, signed the worst free agents possible. So outside of the guys we've drafted, there's nobody. So, of course, they're going to be the best players available. Let's go ahead and set up Discovery, as we always do, as long as I don't misclick there. And we'll see how this season goes for us. So, with the roster being what it is, this is the first season where I'm going to really be intrigued as to how the team does. The more wins, the better. Obviously, we're still going to finish dead last. We're still going to be terrible. And in terms of production, it's going to be bad. We just lost 17-5, for example. It's still, and we are still in the very rough stages, the beginning stages of this series. But it is nice, as Buster Green's going to be out for 6 months, Jesus. It is nice to, again, have the team right now be made up of players that we've drafted. It doesn't take all that long, of course, with the limited spots. But I'm excited to see how we do. We still just have one win this season, as we're going lefty command here. And we'll take it from there. Let's see, what else do we have here? I thought that Scout would have found everything. Yeah, Macaulay's already getting to the point where there might not be much left to do. It's still working out, though. And pitcher lefty movement. There we go. So we'll continue our Discovery here. When are we going to get our next win? How much longer is that going to take? Place your bets now, because the answer might be a bit, as thankfully every scout is still on the same level. Chet Britt's hurt. We don't have to worry about that. 1-13 on the year. Absolutely brutal. As we'll move over to catchers, let's go fielding. Fielding and arm strength and field. I don't know. I like let's go arm strength and speed. Funny enough, and then we'll do fielding and speed. We'll handle it that way. So catchers, arm strength and speed. Catcher, arm strength and speed. There we go. We'll handle it in that way for the moment. Buster Green's career is probably over due to that injury, and we already have someone who might not have that many catchers to scout from the looks of it. That is indeed the case. So there are very little catchers, if any, out of the western region. Interesting. Let's do the same thing here. Let's go arm strength and speed there. Now we'll go fielding and speed. Again, it kind of sucks when not everyone's on the same thing. It's not as uniform in the scouting, and it keeps happening primarily. As we'll go power contact. Let's go catcher. Reverse those. Power contact. No more catchers there either. Damn. Alright, same thing. Speed and arm strength. You get to go fielding. Nope, you're not. You're still on. Yeah, that's right. You're on the infield. So yeah, fielding and arm strength, or fielding and speed. Jesus, it's a mess. And then catchers, we go power contact. So we got 2 on catchers and 2 already scouting the infield. If that's not crazy. Back-to-back wins, by the way. We won a series. We took 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. Things are looking up. So for catchers, we are done. Thank you very much, A. Matthews. As we'll take a look at arm strength and speed. You get to take a look at fielding and speed. I don't even remember. Like, are you somehow already done scouting? Wow, the West is just barren, apparently. That's unreal. Let's go arm strength and speed. And Guardado would be infield. I believe we would want arm strength and speed. I am 100% going to scout one region or one type of player for far too long. It's way too easy to make a mistake like this. So we're on fielding and speed. We did arm strength and speed. So let's go power contact there. You're already on the outfield. Let's go fielding and speed. And you're still in the infield, fielding and speed. Craziness. I've never seen this many scouts already be like, yeah, no, we're done. We found everybody. It's like, how is that even possible? So fielding and speed, arm strength and speed. Let's go power contact there. You were already on power contact, so you go to the infield. We'll go arm strength and speed. You already went fielding and speed, so you can go power contact. All outfielders have been discovered. Jesus, the West is just a wasteland. A barren wasteland. So Macaulay will be focusing on scouting individuals at this point, as we're still just on 3 wins this season. So you go to the outfield, start looking at arm strength and speed. You look at fielding and speed. You get to take a look at Antonio Hernandez. And you get to take a look at the outfield, arm strength and speed. There we go. A little bit tedious. We're still 40 days out from the draft, though. We're looking okay. And you'll take a look at fielding and speed. You'll take a look at power and contact. You can take a look at George Pinheiro and Guardado. Can go fielding and speed. Lovely. Can we get our 5th win of the year? No, we cannot. I have a feeling we might not ever get it. So you get to go power contact. You are done. You can take a look at Eduardo Herrera. And you can scout Russell Burr. Guardado gets to go power contact. So we almost have all of our scouts to the point where they're looking at individuals rather than focusing on discovery. And with that, we're good. So now we focus on those that we have found. Let's see what we can do. So 22, 3 years out, we'll avoid you. Jamal Kurtz we'll take a look at. And Donald Lint. Just because you have a great name. Donald Lint. Tremendous. Chester Nash, let's get a full report on. David Reyes, Bernardo Perez as a closer. Orlando Blanco will obviously be avoided. Bill Brandano, you have a great name, but you're 21 and 4+ years away. No thanks. Jason Yabu will be the better guy to scout out here as we sit in the next 2 days. Still, just 4 wins on the year, 4 and 28. Can you imagine the morale of being on this team? So we'll take a look at Bobby Brewer, 20 years old, 3 years out. Frank Mendez, Eric Acevedo, and Steven Scruggs, 3 years out at 22, will avoid. Let's take a look at Edgar Peralta up next as we begin the month with a few more losses to the surprise of absolutely nobody. And we'll take a look here. Let's get a full report on Bobby Brewer. And from there, Scruggs again, 3 years out, no thanks. Blanco, Brandano, Andrew Tejada at second. Jay Bass, great name. And from there, it's a little bit rough again in terms of some of these 80 overalls. Jesus, the amount of 25-year-olds in this draft. Ken Hermanson, the shortstop, will be the next guy that we look to scout out, as Phillips Valdez is hurt. Not have to worry about that too much. He's a random AAA signing. Let's go ahead and start looking at catchers here. We'll start looking at individuals, as the 80s we're pretty much all going to have scouted already. Again, Shipman isn't the long-term solution, so we'll take a look at Enrique Valido, and he'll be the only one. We're going to look at 75s if at all possible. Barry Pollock, Reggie Hester, good old Billy Hong will certainly not be scouted. Stefan Rivera as well. Actually, Rivera's down in the 70s, so we'll avoid him for that reason for now. Slight chance we go back and scout him out later. So at second, 75s and up, we have Terrell Bond. Let's take a look at him next. It's in the next 2 days, as we can't pick up a win yet against Arizona. It's a 4-game series, but you never quite know. Let's go back to catcher. So Valido ended up way the hell down there. I think for the most part we're fine at first. So let's get a full report on Hester. Let's get a full report on Pollock. Jerome Makepeace is a great name, but unfortunately he's not the caliber of player that we're hoping for. At third, let's take a look at John Gibson. And, man, that's pretty much it. It's a little bit rough. There are some guys down in the 70s. Let's take a look at Steve Irwin. Good old Steve Irwin. Please tell me. Please tell me he's from Australia. As, actually, we're going to take a look right now. Ohio. Close enough, right? The outback known as Ohio. The great state of Ohio. Let's take a look here. So let's get a full report on Hermanson from Illinois. Cool. Steve Irwin as well. And then in left, 75s, we have Dan Paquette. And at center, take a look at Glenn Hu. Glenn Hu. In the next 2 days. We are 3 weeks out from the draft. I'm feeling pretty good, actually. I don't know. I felt like we'd be a little bit behind. in terms of information, but we're looking pretty good here, actually, in terms of having guys scouted, they're 75s and up. I think mainly, too, because we're certainly not wasting any time on those that don't exactly, need the spotlight. So, again, at center, there wasn't anybody. Let's take a look here. Closers. Yeah, a lot of focus is going to have to go here on pitchers, just in general. Let's take a look. Let's get a full report on Bernardo Perez and Bucky Nance, who has a great name, can also be scouted as well, as we ended up beating Cleveland. That is our first win in a month. God, again, just imagine the morale of being on this team. So I want to just make sure that there isn't anybody 75 and up who did not have a full report. But I think we're okay. No, Dan Paquette. We need to scout him out a little bit more. And from there, we are okay. So let's take a look here. Closers, get the full report on Bucky Nance. Perez, it's pretty much a full report as is. I don't think we got to waste any more time on him, but 75s and up. Singletary, 3 years out at 23. Brown, 2 years out at 24 for Theodore Song. It's just not going to happen. It's not necessary. But Bucky Nance and Bernardo Perez could be good pickups. So as far as just normal relievers, Edgar Peralta, 4+ years out, but we'll still take a look. And Scott Erskine as well. Again, we are still absolutely in that stage where the best option is to just take the best player available. We can't necessarily look to scout for anything random. We just need the best players available. Can't scout for need. Adam Cabrera. Let's take a look at Brian Kimball. And those will be the last 2 relievers. Now a lot of focus will be on starting pitchers here over the final few days. We are just 17 days out from the draft. Make it 15 now, as we'll continue to take a look. So, as is normally the case, I was pretty confident, but now I'm seeing how many the lack of high-end talents. How few high-end talents there appear to be in this draft, and I am getting a little bit concerned, maybe. No, I'm getting concerned. Maybe just a little bit over the quality here in this draft. But again, we will do as best we can, as we just won another series. We beat the White Sox. I mean, they're a 500 ball club, 25-25. We are 7-41. The embarrassment of losing to us, let me tell you. As Ked Belanger, we'll avoid. I still love, and this is more of a hockey reference, of course, but that's what I'm known for. When Adam Wilde did the Steve Dangle podcast, pronounced it Belanger. I really wish that's how you said that last name. Good old Ted Belanger, I wish. Jason Yabu will get a full report on. So you got Belanger, Ozuna. From there, we can just keep looking. We got Alfonso Quintana. Jason Hadaway, no thank you. A lot of these guys looking kind of rough for 75s here. Brad Teague and David Reyes will get full reports on you two as well. Reggie Squires is going to be out for a month or two. Just injuries left and right. I probably should adjust that slider ever so slightly. It is the default slider. David Reyes ended up being pretty damn good. And that's pretty much it. We're going to have to go down to the 70s. Now, again, I could take a look at Ted Belanger, get a full report, and it could be like, oh, he's actually going to be good next year, and he's an 80, and he's great, but there's no real way to know. So, and especially, too, with that being a half bar, that's not the best example, but you get the point. So, let's take a look here, actually. Again, catcher, I think we'll take another look at any 70s if there are any decent ones, and you got Gil Maldonado, which, unfortunately, everyone else is looking kind of rough. So Shipman is not the long. We'll take a look at Steven Scruggs as well. I don't trust the ETA. Again, that could all change, but I was hoping to find a half-decent catcher, and that just didn't happen. We do technically need a center fielder, although we do have Lopez, Ryder, and Stowers right now. Are there any other solid 70s? We'll look for position players first before anybody else. So let's take one more look. We have Stefan Rivera, David Okada, and that's it for first baseman. At second, is there anybody here? We have a couple. Orlando Baisley, we don't know anything about, as we're going to be 10 days out from the draft. Make it 9. We get a trade offer for Roger Samwell. I hate to tell you, Boston, that is not allowed. I mean, it's allowed for you, not allowed for me. So catcher, Maldonado. I don't really know if he needs a full report, does he? Had he taken a step up, I think maybe. Same for Rivera. It's about halfway, a little bit under. I think if they look like they might be a little bit better, like Orlando Baisley, for example, really took a step up from the 70 to the 80. So we'll continue to look at him. There's a chance of him being pretty damn good. Tejada, we don't need a full report on you. And that's it for 70s. So who do we have at third? Is there anybody good? Let's take a look. Not really. Chris Rios is the only one. At short, we have Rob Briscoe. Song's 3 years away, and he's already 24. Wonder if he's ever going to make it. In left, we have Johnny Leone. We'll take a look at. Heart of a Lion, they say. I'm going to sim that one extra day. We're a week out from the draft. Let's see what we are dealing with. So Baisley settled at a 75. Rios in third. Bo Papp, by the way. Bo Papp. How did I not notice that name yet? That is phenomenal. Rob Briscoe. Not looking all that good. There is Johnny Wallet. I didn't even notice it short before, so we'll take a look at him. And then in left, I think, yeah, we got a couple of other guys. Carlos Ramos, Juan Calzado, and Carmen Avila. So we'll have some other outfielders here. Montag's going to be out for a little bit. Another 6-month-plus injury, a head injury. We'll take out Rosales, I believe it was, who is not ours. So while I feel sorry for him, it's not devastating to one of our prospects' developments, as we are good on that front. In center, 22, 3 years away, Chad Bennett. We'll take a look. That could be worth it. Is there anybody else? Greg Huffman, Edgar Rivera, and that is it. Again, Bill Brandano, 4 years away at 21. Not really feeling it. Which, you know, again, you could say, oh, well, he's going to be 25 and in the prime of his career. And that's all well and good, but, you know, they often don't pan out. They might. He might, for sure. You know, he might for sure. But I think so far, the track record in these drafts for myself has been pretty strong. I'm not going to say I've batted 1,000. I certainly haven't. But for the most part, we've done quite well. So willing to stick to the strategy that we've been employing, as we're going to look at starters. Wow, there's a lot of starters. A lot of 70s left. So let's take a look. Nieto's going to be ready next year, huh? Not really feeling it. Who else do we have here? We have Rick Tippett. Will be the first guy that we check out. We are 5 days out from the draft. Brian Kuo is going to be out for a couple of days, or Kuo. I could not tell you how to pronounce that name correctly. Not going to try. As long as you know, my argument was, as long as you know who the hell I'm talking about, it's good enough, right? Chris Gill, 3 years away at 21. Yeah, we'll take a look at him. Rich Rosario. Whoop, can that go through, please? Thank you. Rich Rosario as well. Miguel Beltran. And from there, I think we're pretty much good. For the 70s, we're not. Leo Ramirez will be one of the final few, as we have one more batch of scouting reports to send out. Rich Rosario will obviously get a full report. Miguel Beltran, he's good enough where he is. I'd say, let's see if there are any other 70s worth scouting out here. And there might not be. Rick Tippett we could get a full report on. That might be worth it. Jude Hoskins. We'll take a look at old Jude Hoskins. I just punched my desk. That happens a lot while recording. We got Jamal Kurtz, Gonzalez, Isaac Phillips. All right, cool. So do we have anybody closer to the top that doesn't have a full report? We have Chad Bennett. And is there one other guy, next highest rated, not named Theodore Song? Sorry, Teddy. It's not going to happen. Ted Belanger, not going to happen either. Miguel Beltran will be the last one that we take a look at. So let's take a look at the team thus far. as Logan Allen's currently running as our ace. He's a 75. It's not too bad. The ERA is not completely abysmal. Alex Fido, I mean, you're under a 5. You got that going for us, showing up as a 76. Sam Wallace at a 5.31 ERA, showing up as a 76. Gustavo Gonzalez is terrible, and Roger Samuel is terrible. Chris Curtis is a 55 and a fucking almost 8 ERA. Good Lord. Guillermo Ramos, not ideal. Richie Sorvala, even worse. Ryan Thompson is not ours. Durbin Feltman's, Bruce Boyle. And, well, Vincent's doing okay. So he's got that going for him. Up to an 82, by the way, a 77. Playing like an 82. So we have that going for us. Obviously, the team performance is going to be down for a lot of guys. Lineup-wise, Ray Rosario has a 286 average, is 74. Cal Goldstein, who we knew wasn't going to be that good long-term, but is filling in quite nicely. Bobby Bloom, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, and a 245 average. Brian Lopez showing up as an 80 overall. Chavis with a 257 average. Ryder a 232. Josh Stower showing up with an 80 average. A 287 average, but as an 80 overall. Hiora, 230 average, and Henry Shipman, a 290. Look at old Henry. Then you got Will Glover on the bench, who's been terrible. Lee Wilkins has been okay. Darryl James has been terrible, and Brian Kuo's been terrible. But there you go. A quick little update, at least on those who have been playing at the major league level. Let's get, as we hit our 10th win, let's get to the main event of this episode, as it always is. This is the Year 4 entry draft. Let's see who is available here. So Frankie Bowie. Yeah, you'd have to be a monster for me to take you with that lower ETA here. The low ETA, the low ETA. Henry Alvarez. No. Just no. Good speed, good reaction, but no, we can find someone better for the first overall pick, like Steve Irwin. Who, in fairness, is actually quite good. Contact's really solid, vision's really solid, fielding, arm strength. Steve Irwin's not bad. Not bad at all. And we do, in a way, need a shortstop. So, there you go. Steve Irwin looking pretty good. Edgar Peralta, you could be great. I'm not going to take a relief pitcher with the number 1 overall pick. Bobby Brewer in right. 20 years old, 4+ years out. Well-rounded at the plate. Just a very well-rounded player in general, but nothing amazing. And that's kind of the concern there. So, I'd still go for Irwin. He's a a player who's much more further along, despite being a year younger. So Irwin right now is the favorite for me. We have Corey Drummond, who, again, 21, but being 4+ years away. The stats would have to be amazing, and they're not. Rick Talbot, 18 years old, relatively close to being ready. Couple of 80s, a 70, and a couple of 60s. Not bad. Not bad, especially with the blue chip. We'll see. Right now it's between Talbot and Irwin. Alan Larson, absolutely not. Brian Daniels, absolutely not. Bo Papp, absolutely not. Eric Velasquez, though, being a few years younger. Hello, contact. Solid. The power's low. Vision and discipline's okay. He's pretty well-rounded. Looks to have really good contact. I'd probably have Irwin ahead of him, but I know a lot of people would say, well, Velasquez is listed as blue chip, so he might be the best way to go. So we got Irwin, we have Talbot, and we have Velasquez thus far. Mark DaCosta. Well-rounded at the plate. Not really great at anything. I'd say there are other guys like Irwin who are a bit further along. He's got really good speed, though. David Reyes. Damn, if it just wasn't for the low Ks, he would be looking great. He is, too. It's a good sign, though, if there's some good starting pitchers. And then we have Barry Pollock. Very well-rounded, but not quite to the same level as, like, Barry or a Bobby Bloom, for example. Jorge Crespo or George Crespo. One or the other. Yeah, the 55s kind of ruin it there for the hits and the control, unfortunately. Makepeace isn't going to happen. J.J. Logan. High injury risk, absolutely not. He's well-rounded, but no. He's got a good arm, but not with that high injury risk. I don't think so. Not a chance. Chester Nash as another catcher. Same thing. Not number 1 pick worthy. Ken Hermanson. Also not first pick worthy, unfortunately. Michael Bump. Michael Bump. Attributes are going to be a bit too low. He's 18 with a good ETA and he's blue chip, but his overall is going to be low, and that's what I'm worried about. Granted, if you got a lower overall at 18 years old, that's fine, but I think we can find somebody better who's still young and is further along. Graham Edwards is a great example of that. Whew, really good contact, decent power, amazing vision and discipline, great fielding, great reaction, speed, and stealing. Graham Edwards might be the guy. He's blue chip as well, so that would appease everybody, I think, if we stay in these 80s. So we have Graham Edwards. We have Graham Edwards again. J.J. Logan wasn't quite there. For me, it was Graham Edwards. I think Velasquez was up there. Rick Talbot stood out, as well as Steve Irwin. Let me take a look here. So, in terms of judging these guys, again, I think my favorite was, in terms of pitchers, Talbot. Yeah, he had the 360s. Whereas, 55, 60. In fairness, David Reyes was the other one who wasn't that bad. And then you look at Drummond, 55, 65, 65, 60. Michael Bump was a little bit lower, as was Crespo. So for starting pitchers, it would be Reyes or Talbot, no doubt. Probably Talbot with him being blue chip, at least to start. In terms of catchers, it was down to Nash, who isn't good enough to be a number one, nor is J.J. Logan. At first, Barry Pollock, who just wasn't there. And then at second, I still think it's probably going to be Graham Edwards. You had Velasquez, though, who was pretty good, too. Velasquez has better contact, but everything else, aside from arm accuracy, is on the side of Graham Edwards. And the fact that Edwards is a year younger as well. Again, crazy good contact for Velasquez, but it's not as if Edwards is terrible, and he is extremely well-rounded. I think he is the favorite. I want to compare him directly to Irwin. 65, 70. Let's see. 65, 70. Okay, that matches up. 80, 70, 80, 60. 80, 70, 80, 60. Slight advantage for Irwin there in terms of vision, discipline, fielding, and strength. And then 70, 80, 60, 60. 70, 80, 60, 60. Yeah, so they all kind of balance out. I'd probably give it to Edwards. Again, I don't think Alvarez was that bad. But yeah, for me it comes down to Talbot or Graham Edwards. And in terms of the infield, we do need a shortstop. Because our infield right now could shape up to be Shipman at catcher, Bloom at first, Hiora at second, Chavis at third, and then Edwards at short. We could potentially move Hiora over if we had to. We need another really good infielder. Not that we don't need another starter, but I think we are going to go for Graham Edwards here. I really like him and how well-rounded he is. So there we go. With that number one pick, we do take Graham Edwards. Velasquez went next. We have no pick in between rounds. So Velasquez went next. Bump, Logan. Talbot ended up going 8th to Atlanta. As you see where some of the other guys went as well, including Erskine, the reliever. There we go. So let's see who's still here for our next pick. We're going to be down into the 75s. Glenn Hu. Hello. The contact, the vision, the discipline, the speed, the stealing. Not bad. Maybe a pinch runner, pinch hitter dream right there is Glenn. Theodore Song will avoid. Ted Belanger, not going to happen. Chad Bennett in center, not bad. Not bad. Decent power, decent fielding. Okay. We have a couple of center field options here between the two. Is there anybody else? Dan Paquette in left, also not that bad. High injury risk, though. We're not going anywhere near him. Donald Lint, absolutely not. Gil Maldonado, unfortunately not. Rich Rosario, the starter, 55. Ooh, yeah, some of those grades are a bit too low. Definitely a project. Might pan out, but yeah, some of those grades are a bit too low for my liking. We got Rick Tippett. Not bad. The control is unfortunate. The control is unfortunate at a 55, but he's not that bad. I think I still like the outfielders more, though. Jason Yabu, 40 for the K's. Yeah, he's not great at striking people out. Everything else is okay, but not anything amazing. Brad Teague is the more well-rounded out of any of the three main starting pitchers we've looked at so far. If we were going to go for a starter, it would be Brad Teague at the moment. We also have Russell Burr, not quite at the same level. Jake Lawrence will avoid. Chris Gill, no, he's not bad, but I'd say Teague's a bit more reliable, especially with the accuracy, literally more reliable. We have Jamal Kurtz, who will avoid. Is there anybody else? Eric Acevedo? Yeah, not even close to the other outfielders that we have available right now. Eduardo Herrera as a starter is the best option yet. So Teague or Herrera for sure. So we have two or three starters who are looking pretty good, and then we have two outfielders that are in direct competition with one another. Dan Paquette's not that bad, especially because of the power, but again, the high injury risk ruins it. So to me, it comes down to Glenn Hu or Chad Bennett, even if Bennett's listed as a 70 potential. Contact goes to Glenn. Power goes to Bennett. Vision and discipline goes to Glenn. Fielding and arm strength goes to Bennett, as does accuracy, reaction, speed, and stealing goes to Glenn. So they balance out quite well. But I wouldn't say right now an outfielder is as important as another starter, but there's a really good chance of a starter that we like still being available in that next round, and that's kind of what I'm banking on. So it's, do we trust Bennett for the extra power, or do we like the extra speed? Again, Glenn has the higher listed potential. He's also 2 years younger, so the ETAs kind of balance out. So again, he's got the contact boost, the power goes to Bennett, vision and discipline to Glenn. Bennett gets the fielding and arm strength, slight edge off of accuracy, +2 on reaction. They just flat out balance out. I think just because of the higher listed potential of Glenn Hu, that's exactly who we're going to go for. I'm going to trust it. I think we're going to take the younger option, Glenn Hu. Glenn Hu. The Hu-Hus. And we'll see if any of those starters, as Brad Teague's off the board. We do get a pick between the second and third round. In terms of starters, is anybody there that I still liked aside from Ted Belanger? Maybe not. Wow, I think I missed out on every single one of them. I was hoping someone else was going to drop. Teague's gone. Rosario. Rick Tippett. Damn. So that could have been a mistake. That could have been a mistake, taking the outfielder to apply a little bit of pressure and try to get a more solid 4. That could have been a mistake. Now, every year, it's typically more reliable that there's going to be some good starting pitching, which is why I was willing to take the risk. But still, that could prove to be a mistake. So again, Gil Maldonado wasn't that good. Dan Paquette, we're going to avoid. Chris Gill, 21, 3 years away. Not terrible, but I doubt he's great. I wish we had more info on him. Eduardo Herrera. That's right, Herrera was looking pretty good. And the report's a bit more reliable than the Gill report. Danny Eldridge, not so much. Eduardo Herrera as a starter might be our best bet right now. Is there anybody else that we have info on that would be worth it? Edgar Rivera in center. High injury risk, though, so absolutely not. Carmen Avila. Let's take a look. Not that we need another outfielder, but very well-rounded. Great contact, fielding, and arm strength. That's not bad. Makes me wish we took a starter in the last round, and then we would have had Avila and potentially Ramos, mainly Avila, in this draft still at this point. Leo Ramirez as a starter. Hey, he's not terrible for a late-round pick. I think, decision's kind of clear. Maybe, now let's do our due diligence here. Let's do our due diligence here. Pinheiro, not great, unfortunately. I wish you could shortlist players here. I really do. Is there anybody else? Steve Ballou. No, Steve Bellows, because he's not that great, you see. Johnny Leon. Decent contact, decent power, decent stealing. Okay, so there's some outfield options, especially too Juan Calzado. Yeah, there's some outfield options that are still worth taking later. So to me, it pretty much comes down to Ramirez. 60, 50, 60. Yeah, it's got to be Eduardo Herrera. Let's do it. Eduardo Herrera will be the starter, and again, we get another pick here just like that. So it's not like it was that stressful of a call. I do want to sort that out. And in terms of outfielders, again, let's take a look at Chris Rios. Not an outfielder, but not that great. Johnny Leon. There were some solid outfielders. Leon has that decent power. It's about it, though. Otherwise, just kind of average across the road, decent stealing. Avila, good contact. Decent fielding and speed. It's not bad. Ramos, not so much. Right now, Avila is the favorite. And Greg Huffman, probably outmatched by Avila. Enrique Valido, we're not going to take a look at. Edgar Rivera. So Rivera against Avila. Let's take a look. Contact balances out. Power, slight edge to Avila. Now slight edge to Rivera. About even again. Fielding goes to Avila. Arm strength, accuracy balances back. Slight edge, I think, goes to Avila. They're pretty much dead even. Really, when you look at it, they were pretty much dead even, which means I want to compare Rivera to Calzado, who has that pretty damn good power. So contact goes to Rivera, no doubt. Power goes to Calzado. Vision and discipline to Rivera. Yeah, so for Calzado, the big thing is he has a pretty good bat. So, again, a couple of solid outfielders. Ramirez, not quite what we're looking for. There's Jude Hoskins, Arturo Veras. The 50s kind of ruin it. Good options, though, pitching-wise. Quintana. Again, the 50s kind of ruin it, but he's not terrible. Pinheiro, same thing, just a couple of low stats. Steve Ballou. Jimmy Clark. Not quite where we want him. Jamal Kurtz as well. Okay, so I think we're good. We're going to take one of those outfielders. And I think it's going to be probably Avila. Probably. Yeah. That's the guy. Carbon Avila. Puerto Rican. Sign him up. Sign him up. As we are adding to our outfield depth, hopefully, with this draft. We still have 3 picks to go, mind you. So Rios is still there. Calzado's still there, which could be an interesting pickup. Again, Rios just not looking that good. Ramos, not really looking that good. Huffman, same thing. Calzado has that power, which is pretty nice. And then Rivera was the other option, but high injury risk. It sucks, man. John Gibson, high injury risk as well. Leo Ramirez, not really feeling it. Quintana, not really feeling it. I think we're going to be taking our 3rd outfielder of this draft. That's just kind of the way it's gone. Chris Gill could be worth it. I doubt he's going to be that great. Or we take Maldonado as a backup catcher, even though he's pretty bad. So again, I got to go with my gut. I'm going to take Calzado here. He might be a good pinch hitting option as a power bat. Could be worth it. But the back half of this draft, it's getting tough to say who to take here. So you have Huffman, Rivera, and Gibson, both with high injury risk. So the obvious thing to do here would be to take Huffman just as a speed option, as a speed threat. But I don't know. Like, he's well-rounded, but he's 21 years old and 4+ years out, right? So that's going to be a low overall. He's going to have really good speed, but all of his other base attributes are going to be just the worst. So we can take a risk on some others here. And maybe John Johnson. Yes. Yes, please. John Johnson. How many other 70s are there that are younger? Gonzalez, Agustin Silva, Hans da Costa. Might not be the worst idea. Yeah, let's take John Johnson for the hell of it. Just because of his stupid name. Just because of his stupid name. And it's not the worst idea to take a risk on relievers at this part of the draft anyway. Although, granted, with Mulder, I'm not as sold. But there is Andres Gonzalez. Again, we're not going to be able to trust anything there, though. Silva. Let's go for Augustin Silva. We'll take 2 relievers at the end of the draft to see if they're any decent. And that ends the Year 4 draft. How did I do? We're about to find out. Sometimes taking a more optimistic approach heading into the screen doesn't always work, but let's see what happens. I made the right choice yet again with the number 1 pick. I can tell you that much for sure. Wow. We'll break all this down, but Graham Edwards is exactly who we needed in terms of adding to the infield. He is a game changer and a half. 72 overall at 19 years old with A potential. That's insane. That is insane. He has the chance to be something special. Make no mistake about it. We're going to pay him all of the money up front. Welcome to Cincinnati, Graham. I can't wait to get you on this team next year. Not much of a power bat, but you can see the potential there. And then Glenn Hogue. Glenn Hogue. Amazing speed, really good contact as well. 20 years old, a 66 overall with B potential. Absolutely. I'll take that every day of the week. So, Glenn as well. Welcome to the team. And while Glenn might not have been the best option to take, because I just need to write down that he joined this team. While Glenn might not have been the best option to take, it might have been better to take a starter. You can't at least view it as a failure on my part, because he is pretty damn good as a B potential guy. We get an A with the number 1 pick, a B with the guy that we take next in the second round, I believe it was. Or did we have a pick between the first and the second? I honestly don't remember. And then we get Eduardo Herrera, 65 overall, 22 years old with a C potential. That's not great, but for our roster, he'll play a role of potentially being a half-decent long reliever for a few seasons. So he has a place on this team. That's not a complete swing and miss for us. Carmen Avila, much like I kind of expected, decent contact, some good speed. Unfortunately, a D potential option. Much like with Goldstein and Kuo last year, he's at least worth signing to play a role for now. But yeah, long term, nothing there. Same thing for Calzado. Good power and good speed. Decent pinch hitting option in the meantime, but nothing overly special. He won't be on this team long term. And then at the end, we got kind of lucky. John Johnson's actually not that bad. 19 years old, still a C potential, a high C at a 79, but 62 overall. It's not too bad. He'll actually be a half-decent reliever for us for the next few years. And Augustin Silva, same thing. He's technically a C potential, 69 overall, 20 years old. We actually did quite well for ourselves there at the end with those 2 relievers. Both are going to be extremely useful in terms of bolstering up this bullpen in the short term. Both could be around for a decent amount of time. So overall, I am perfectly fine with this draft. We absolutely made the right choice with Graham Edwards. At least we didn't botch it. There might be somebody better. And then you just look at these other guys. Again, Glenn's going to be great. Herrera can do a role for us. Avila and Calzado, role players for now. And then Johnson and Silva will have spots in the bullpen for a few years to come. As opposed to what some of these other teams look like, which, again, Milwaukee with Bo Papp. Blue chipper or not, yeah, we made the right choice to avoid him. Screw that potential if he's that low of an overall at that age. Same for Noriagawa. In terms of high-end talent, Milwaukee got nobody. Pittsburgh did okay with David Reyes and Orlando Baisley, for that matter. Pulison's all right. So Pittsburgh did okay with their top 3. In terms of role players, I don't really care. St. Louis didn't end up with anybody over a B potential or over a C potential. Erskine's okay for a C potential guy. Brad Teague is also okay for a C potential guy, but no major game changers on their parts. Chester Nash, long way to go before he's ever ready. Bobby Brewer is okay, so case in point. And actually, Darnell Abbott, Arizona did really well to get him when they did. So, Chester Nash, big-time project. Bobby Brewer, somewhat of a project. Darnell Abbott's great. Jamal Kurtz is pretty damn good, too. So, Arizona had a pretty damn good draft. I'll give it to them. They probably did better than we did, but for every Arizona, there's a Colorado who completely botched it. There's an LA Dodgers who completely botched it. So, yet again, I feel quite confident about how we did in this past draft, even if we didn't get to draft Thad Kaiser, which is just a great name. So, yeah, I feel really good about this. Even like a Corey Drummond. He's 21 with that 98 potential, but he's only a 60. You know, he's got a little bit of a way to go. So I am very, very happy with how we did here. Crespo, not bad. Bit more of a project. Velasquez wouldn't have been bad either, in fairness. But I'm ecstatic about how this draft went for us. And I think the addition, although Michael Bump actually would have been pretty damn good, but actually he would have been really damn good. He's going to be an ace for the Mariners. But I do like who we ended up with. There you go. So that's my one regret right there. We were considering Rick Tippett, and we took an outfielder in Glenn Huh over Rick Tippett, and that was a mistake. So, for the most part, did we have a pretty damn good draft top to bottom? Yes. But were mistakes made? Yes. We should have gone for Rick Tippett. I said that in the moment, and even then... Or wait, was it Rick Tippett or Rick Talbot? Regardless of who it was, between Tippett or Talbot, both of them were great. I think we were considering both of them. But, you know, you can't bat 1,000 in this instance. There's Steve Irwin, only a B potential. So overall, I think with Graham Edwards we did well. Maybe some of the other picks down the middle could have been a little bit better. But overall, I'm still excited for the future of this team. We are slowly getting better. You can see it with the way this roster's set up now. We have more additions coming up through the draft. I'm excited to see how the rest of this season goes for us. And in particular, the Rule 5 coming up in the Year 5 entry draft as we continue to breeze through these early stages. Again, this series will start to slow down once we're more competitive and once there's a bit more drama in terms of are we going to make the playoffs, when are we going to make the playoffs for the first time, and when do we take that step towards being contenders. Of course, in the Blue Jays series, throughout the course of that series, we were contenders pretty much every year. That was the goal of it, to avoid the rebuild. This, of course, is just rebuild and rebuild only, and we are well on our way. But let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this episode. I'm intrigued to hear, of course, whether or not you would have changed anything different, especially about the draft. But, you know, hindsight is what it is. Or as well with the Rule 5. Would you have taken Pavin Smith, or did we make the right decision? Of course, right now, the infield is going to be looking that much better. We will have to move Keston Hiura or our new second baseman, Graham Edwards, over to shortstop. Potentially Chavis as well. Chavis can actually play short, so this might all work out without me having to edit anything. But what would you have done differently, if anything? Let me know. And as always, if you enjoyed the episode, you know the deal. Support the video. Support the channel by doing all the things that YouTube wants you to do. Not just me. I don't want you to do it. YouTube wants you to do it. You want to do it. Let's be honest. Be honest with yourself. You know what you want to do. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Click the stupid bell, because YouTube might not tell you when I upload. And how shitty is that? Pretty shitty. YouTube, don't take away my ad money, please. Thank you very much. And check out everything in the description if you haven't already. And until next time, remember this. I want you to have a good one. I want you to take it easy. And I want you to come back for the next episode. I'll see you then, okay? Good talk.